What's going on, everybody? Gek here, and we're back on the survival farm. I know it's been a while. Just to recap what we've done so far, we bought a farm that we had. We cut some logs to be able to afford this tractor and plow. Then we got some seeds and rented a seeder from the used equipment store down the road. And we planted a field full of canola here that needs some lime, but it is growing. I have recently gotten a call from the guy at the equipment dealership. He said he had something that I might be interested in. So we're going to head down there and check it out. Just quickly break the suspension on our truck. Yeah, there's not really a road out to my farm yet. So we just kind of drive through this big field until we get there. Alright, we're here, and it looks like he has pimped up his shop a lot. So immediately we can see this giant tractor, which I'm guessing he wanted. Because, I mean, look at that thing. It's huge. And then we've got this little sign here that says machines in stock. Machines in stock. Because if you couldn't tell, there are machines in stock. There's a lot of machines in stock. Looks like he still has that 5500 and the 4955, but there's a new case here. This weird looking little dump truck thing. A fertilizer spreader, which we really need. The cow trailer's still there, skid steer. This disc plow. The two seeders, that's still there. And of course there's this tractor. Look at this thing. This is a fancy tractor. It's huge too. I can see why he put this up on a stand. Then there's these three old grain bins. The combine harvester's still here. A lawnmower, which is pretty cool. Then there's a backhoe with a log fork on it. That's pretty cool. This looking thing looks like from Indiana Jones. The grain truck's still there, so is the semi. A new pickup truck. And all this stuff is still the same, but then there's also this little blue trailer. So it looks like the shop's gotten a lot more cool stuff, so we're going to go talk to the owner and see what he called me down here about. Alright, so I talked to the owner, and he said he wanted to trade me my truck, my Ram, for this here truck with this bed. And it seems like that's a really bad deal because this truck's really rusty and stuff. But this truck has some pretty good stuff that mine doesn't. It has a winch, plus it has a lot more horsepower than mine, and you can change out the beds if you want. So I'll think about it for a little bit, and it looks like, I'll have to ask him, but it looks like I might get this towing stuff with it, which could end up being helpful at some point. So I'll go ask him about that. Alright, I asked him about that, and he said that with this, I would get the tow rope and the tow rope attacher. So I told him that if he'd throw in this little blue trailer here, then we'd have a deal, and he took it. So I'm gonna go take my truck for one more drive, and then we'll go get our new one. And this is our truck now. It's a little bigger than my old one. And something that he told me it has is adjustable suspension, which could be helpful. And a 5.7 liter V8 that he says makes like 700 horsepower, which is completely overkill considering my tractor only has like 150, but it could be helpful. And this bed looks like it would be a little better for hauling logs than the one on the Dodge, so that's going to be helpful. And we'll just hook up our little blue trailer here. This will be helpful for hauling like bags of seeds and stuff. And we'll just park this in here. I already gave him the keys. I'll just leave him here, and he said he'll grab them in a second. So, and I asked him where all this new stuff came from. He said there's a farm down the road. They just sold an old property that they had some of this stuff at, and that's where that big tractor, these trailers, the backhoe, and this truck, as well as that case tractor and the fertilizer spreader came from. And the guy who just sold that old farm, he actually gave me a phone call as well, saying that he had a property that needed to be cleaned up. And he said that if I could do it, then there's something that he'd be willing to give me, but I have to go down there to check it out. He says it's something really rare though, so we're gonna drive straight down there. But he told me that there's some rocks that needs to be taken out, a couple trees, and that's basically it. So anyway, this is the property where we're at, and we can see there's some giant rocks in this field, and those are the ones he wants me to take out. And he said he marked the trees with a spray can that he wants me to take out. See, they're marked in red with those little X's. So now we're gonna go check out. He told me that there's a stand of trees and some rocks, and it looks like I can already see what he's offering to do this job. Looks like an old combine harvester. It looks like this has been sitting here for a long time, and there's a header too. He says that last he knew it worked, but that was about 10 years ago. So he says that if we can take out those trees and the rocks, and we can pull this out and get it away ourselves, then we can keep this, which is nice because combine harvesters are really hard to come by out here. So let's just hop in here and see if it might possibly start. It's really trying, but I don't think it's gonna go. Okay, so we'll hop in the truck and I'll let him know that we'll take the deal. We can probably go get some extra parts for the combine harvester. So, alright. So we're back here. I called the guy already and let him know that I'd take the deal. So now I just have to ask the equipment dealership guy if he'd be willing to lend me something that I can pick up those rocks with. Alright, so I talked to him and he said that for $100, he'd be willing to let me borrow this backhoe, which doesn't really seem like a lot, but this thing's pretty beat up. Plus I have to haul it myself, so let's see if we can do that. This thing doesn't look that old, but it's got quite a bit of dirt and rust on it, so we'll see what we can do. I don't know if I can even put it on this little trailer. It probably is too wide, but we shall see. Okay, this is super sketchy. I could just use the tow rope to tow it behind me, but where's the fun in that? So we're going to take this down to that property that we're working on, and we'll get those rocks and trees taken care of. Alright, we're here. The truck went a little slow because we got like a 10-ton backhoe in the back, so... And I probably just trashed the suspension on my poor little trailer, but we're going to get the backhoe unloaded and get to work. Alright, so I would say we're going to get the rocks out of here first, because that's probably going to be the harder part. And this log fork might actually be pretty good for getting the rocks out, because it has a claw grip instead of just a bucket, which would be very helpful. Yep, just like that. Those bigger ones I'm a little concerned about because they're like really heavy. They're like giant boulders, but we'll see what we can do. Alright, we're back, and we've got all the rocks loaded up, so we're gonna take these back to the equipment store, because the other part of the deal with the guy that I forgot to mention earlier was that he got to keep these rocks because he wanted them for his landscaping or something. So we're gonna take them back to him. Alright, we got the rocks unloaded, so we're gonna head back there and deal with the trees. That really shouldn't be too hard, honestly. Like, my truck has a winch and everything, so dealing with the trees would be really easy. Honestly, the deal for this truck was probably one of the best deals I've ever made, because the bed is a lot bigger than on my old Ram. Plus, I got an entire trailer from it, and this tow stuff, so that's gonna make my life a lot easier. I'm gonna drop the trailer for now. Alright, we've got the logs loaded up. That was not really that hard. So now we've got a combine harvester to pull out. So that's gonna be the hard part. I'll see if we can do it with the truck, but we might have to use the backhoe, so if that ends up being necessary, we'll do it that way. Actually, it might be easier instead of... So we'll try pulling out the head first, because that's gonna be the easy part. And that just got weighed down a lot. Okay. We're gonna back that up. Hook it up to here. And the header, now we can pull out. It's probably not great to be dragging this thing off the ground, but I'm sure anything that's touching the ground probably needs to get replaced anyways. Because just look at this thing, it's rusty. Okay, so we've got the header pulled out. That's going to be the easy part. Okay, so I'll actually take the backhoe back there and see if I can use it to push the actual harvester out, because that... And I probably don't want to do it with the log fork, because that might rip the metal. So let's see if we can get it up on this rock. Fine, I'll go around. And I might have just broken the glass, so that's a thing. Try that, see if we can get it pushed out a little. Okay, so it doesn't seem like that was really that hard to move a little. Get the bucket out. Let's see. Push it over. Okay. I'm just gonna go get the rope with the truck now, because we got it dug out of whatever spot it might have been dug into. So this should be a little easier now. Oh, I gotta pull that off the... Pull that off there. Just, I don't care if the rope drags on the ground. And honestly, if we can get the harvester to move, it should be easier to pull out than the header, because it's not as wide. Let's see if we can pull this on out of here. Oh yeah, that really wasn't even that hard. Alright, we're back at the farm, and we're gonna drop that. Looks like we got the harvester back here in one piece. Chuck this back in my truck. Let's put the rope in there too. And we'll go take those trees and take the backhoe back, and then we'll bring the header back to the farm, and that will probably be it. Alright, we're back at the equipment shop. We're going to return the backhoe and pay the guy, and roll over our truck. So that's fun. Alright, time to get the backhoe off. It can finally not be on the tiny trailer anymore. Alright, there's the backhoe back. We go pay him. Alright, we're back. We paid him. Let's strap down our logs again and go sell them. And then we'll just have to take the harvester header back to the farm, and that'll probably be it until the crops are done. And at some point, we'll probably have to see if we can get some more money and possibly buy that fertilizer spreader, because our canola really needs some lime that it does not have. Didn't sell. Alright, $623. That's not a lot. But that's fine, because I mean, those were really tiny trees. Plus, I got an entire combine harvester out of this, so. And now let's head back and go get the header for the combine, and that'll definitely be it. And at some point, we might also need to figure out getting something to cut grass, because that could be a really good money maker for us if we can afford a mower. Alright, we got the header loaded up. Don't question it, there's no DOT out here. Well, technically there is, but they don't really care what happens out here, so we can do stuff like this and nobody will stop us. And looks like our farm is actually really close right here. So here's our header. And I grabbed the spare parts that the guy gave me that were left for this combine. So once I have time, I'll have to repair it. But for now, I think that's going to do it for today. Hope you all enjoyed watching this. Thank you all for being here and watching the video. Be sure to subscribe and like if you haven't already. And share this to someone who you think will like it too. And goodbye.